was okay.
And here we are, back live once again at the Yas Marina circuit with the Yas Marina Hotel beautifully lit up as we go into this nighttime race, the championship race, the race that really delivers the points, what they've been working towards throughout the whole weekend so far. We really are into the battle of the brands, and the man who's put this together, fighting to do it for 10 years, is Stefan Rattel. Let's hear from him.
To finally be here at the first round of the World Championship.
Better for spectators, I think, better for television. It will take time. We still have a lot to do and a lot to progress, but I think all the ingredients are there for a big success.
Well, I'll leave you to enjoy it. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you.
Stefan Rattel, then, the architect of this GT1 World Championship, and I think he's pretty happy with the way things are going. I'm Ben Edwards, joined in the commentary box by sports car race winner and champion in single-seaters as well, Danny Watts. Danny, we've really been enjoying the weekend so far, but this is what we've been building up to, isn't it? This is the championship race.
Yeah, well, this is the big one, and we enjoyed a spectacular first round here. And I think this one's going to be even better. You've got some hot shoes at the back that have had problems in the earlier race, and you've also got the guys at the front that showed their pace early on. It's good to see. There we have Thomas Much starting the Ford GT in this race, but Romain Grosjean, Clivio Piccioni, and also Stefan Mucker having excellent first races, so keep an eye out for them.
Now, what we do have to bear in mind is that the earlier race winner, who would normally have been on pole position for this race by winning the last, has had a 10-place penalty. Now, all the Corvettes, in fact, have been given a 10-place grid penalty for this championship race as a result of a difference in how their ballast was fitted in the different cars. So, they are further down than expected. Let's hear now from poleman Thomas Much.
Thomas, you've inherited pole, but this is exactly where you need to be in a race like this.
Yeah, that's correct. Pole position is all what the race driver wants, or the place where the race driver wants to be before the start.
And the Ford GT has certainly been handling this circuit very well this weekend.
Yes, that's right. Mater crew did a great job during the week, during free practice, to find the right setup. And so now we need a safe race and finish in top 3 at least.
Thank you.
Top 3 finish is the aim, obviously, as he says. So let's see whether they can achieve that with the beautiful Ford GT from Martech. And this racing team, which of course suffered badly yesterday, that horrible accident for Natasha Gachnang. Thankfully, apart from her broken leg, she is okay, so it will be hopefully a reasonably quick recovery. Now, we're looking further down the grid here. We're on to the second row. This was a great drive by Christopher Nygaard and Stefan Mucker in that first race, and it's earned them now what is 3rd place on the grid. So, Danny, we're hoping for good things from them, but we've got to also watch out for a few other quick guys. We've got Alex Margaritis joining alongside them on that second row in another Maserati.
Yeah, well, the Stefan Mucker car came from 20th on the grid in the last race, had a great run through, missed all the melee and the carnage on lap 1, and that was a good result, and that's put them in shout for good points in this second race.
Interestingly, we've got Maseratis on the outside on the front row and on the second row, because we've got the Andrea Bertolini, Michael Bartel's car. There's Mika Salo, who is due to start his Corvette, but it's from the back of the grid, last but one row, as a result of that contact that they suffered when his co-driver Pertti Kuzmanen was driving in the first race earlier on. Just looking from that front end of the grid, there is the Vitaphone Maserati of Andrea Bertolini and Michael Bartels. Very much going into this season, has strong fancied runners after all their successes in FIA GT of recent years. Got to see how it develops under this new format, different style of racing. It's a more aggressive style perhaps as well, with shorter races. It is just a 1-hour race to deal with here, and that's what they've got to think about. Now then, looking further down, we've got Frederick Makovici in the Hexis Aston Martin Racing entry, back on row number 3. They had a good recovery drive, didn't they, Danny?
Yeah, they had a small spin early on in the last race and had to make a good comeback, which they did. This circuit is brilliant for overtaking opportunities. There's four decent overtaking opportunities. There's a 1.2 kilometre straight into a tight chicane, long braking area, twice in this lap, so there's a great opportunity for overtaking.
Enrique, we almost thought you weren't going to make race 2, but you're here.
Yes, the team did a fantastic job to finish the car on time. So now I have to start the race and make a good race to thank them.
You've certainly been picking up some great times over the weekend.
Yeah, getting to know the car and the new team, and I'm sure in this race we if we get out of the trouble, I'm sure we have a great car to do a good race.
Thank you, Enrique.
Enrique Bernoldi, he was lined up for a couple of different teams over the winter, but he's ended up at the Vitaphone Maserati team. What a good car to be in. Look, all the repairs have been around this area, haven't they, Danny? We watched some of the mechanics working on that a little earlier.
Yeah, well, they've been really, really busy the last couple of hours repairing the whole rear end of that car. And as we walked around the back of the garage to catch up with some drivers in between these two races, they were absolutely flat out with the floor off and rebuilding the rear end of the car.
Livio Piccioni at the wheel of the other Hexis Aston Martin, and as you mentioned earlier, another driver that's adapting from driving high-powered, high-downforce single-seaters into a low-downforce but still very powerful car. These machines, of course, producing between 600 and 650 brake horsepower, a variety of different engine configurations, V8, V12s, from 5.5 litres up to 7 litres, depending on the particular brand. They sound wonderful, they look good out on circuit, and it's providing us with a real spectacular sight here in Abu Dhabi, as does the track, of course. Just look at this place. It is the most incredible facility. They have done a wonderful job on creating this circuit. Drivers are enjoying it. There are some amazing vantage points too, Danny. Ability to watch the cars in key areas, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, well, we had the privilege to do a couple of laps in the safety car when we arrived at the circuit, and I just couldn't believe how much of a challenge it was. It looks very, very technical. There's a wide variety of corners, 5.54 kilometres in length, with a 1.2 kilometre straight anti-clockwise layout, 21 corners, around 43 gear changes per lap, and a top speed at the end of the straight of around 270 kilometres an hour.
Carl Wendlinger just getting ready to start in this race as well. We've got the Nissans, we're having some pretty good battles in that earlier race, so we'll wait to see if they get on with that again, and same sort of battles in this one. As you can see, it's good to see quite a few people are here enjoying the sights and sounds of GT1 World Championship. Ricardo Zonta, he's starting in the number 25 Lamborghini Murcielago, another former Grand Prix driver. We have 7 drivers on amongst the teams with Grand Prix experience. We have numerous FIA GT titles amongst them as well. We have young guns who are coming through, perhaps have raced in single-seaters, other youngsters who've come through perhaps touring cars or one-make series and coming into this level. It is a real mixture, and it's wonderful to see exactly how they all get mixed up together. There is the yacht belonging to Abramovich, which is parked, or moored I should say, in the harbour here at the Yas Marina, and that would be a pretty good place to watch the race from as well, I would think. But we're going to focus on it as this race gets underway shortly. It is, as we mentioned, a 60-minute race with 1 pit stop. They're not allowed to refuel the cars, but they do have to change drivers and change all 4 wheels as well. Only 2 mechanics are allowed to do that, so that's pretty hard work. Looking at Michael Krum here in the Nissan Sumo Power car. He's teamed up with Peter Dumbreck, very strong driver pairing, who both those guys have raced extensively in Japan in recent years. But here is the car that won earlier on, Andy Zuber, who won that race, and his teammate who handed the car over when it was in the lead now have to start from 11th place. So a little bit of work to be done this time, Danny.
Yeah, but quite clearly they've got the pace to come through to the front, so I don't think they're going to be too concerned.
Well, let's take a look now at how these cars all line up on the grid, taking into account their finishing positions from the first race, plus any penalties that have been applied. And as we say, the Corvettes have been penalised. So it's a Ford GT and a Maserati on the front row together. Grosjean will take over the Ford later. Aston Martin and Maserati on the second row of the grid. That could have come under threat. We've got a Ford GT of Bas Linders right behind, Makovici in the Aston Martin, starting from 6th. Livio Piccioni, another Aston Martin, then Carl Wendlinger in the first of the Nissans, 8th on the grid. 9th, Ricardo Zonta in the Lamborghini, then Michael Krum in another of the Nissans. And then as we work our way down, there is the earlier winner, Andy Zuber in the Corvette. Seiji Ara in another Nissan GTR. Warren Hughes in another of the Sumo Power Nissans. He's got Perti Paltala next to him. Then Bernoldi, 15th on the grid in the Maserati. Then Darren Turner and Thomas Eng. They've got to start from towards the back. Peter Cox starting the Lamborghini with Matteo Bobbi alongside him. Thomas Jaeger and Nicky Pastorelli, they're together on the 10th row of the grid. As we get towards the back, Xavier Marson, they've had to change the engine in that car. Mika Salo, he starts right at the back, one to watch, and so is Mike Hazelmans. They had a bigger penalty because they've changed 2 engines this weekend, so an additional 5-place penalty. Green flag waves and the formation lap gets underway here at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. The lights glowing, we're under floodlights here. It's a nighttime race, and we're going to see 60 minutes of action coming up. That's going to be fast and furious, and Danny, even for the drivers, it's still going to be pretty hot inside those cockpits. Not as hot as earlier, but still warm.
Yeah, we can see from earlier the air temperature is 35 degrees of the track at an unbelievable 55 degrees. It has cooled off since then, it's down to 28 degrees, but still very, very hot. And these drivers now on this warm-up lap will have to get a lot of temperature into the tyres, into the brakes on this 5.5 kilometre circuit. But the first Lamborghini down in 9th on the grid, and we saw from the first race they had some brake problems, so this cooler temperatures now should help them.
Now, what about the tyre situation? Because obviously they have to change tyres midway through this race. Do we reckon that anybody's still got new sets of tyres, or will they have to use tyres they've already run on at some point?
Well, I think we're going to find a mixture, really. Some teams use them in qualifying, some teams would have gambled on the first race trying to get them higher up on the grid. So I think you'll find some teams will have new tyres to bolt on halfway through, in between obviously the 25-minute and 35-minute driver change bracket, and some people are going on scrubbed.
Okay, well, that's something to keep an eye on as well. We're on board the Peter Cox Lamborghini. This is a car that definitely suffered brake problems and ended up putting them out of the race, but it was quick. Before that, he was running competitively top 5. We saw he got passed by Romain Grosjean, but the car was going well. Peter Cox, a very experienced driver, lots of touring car experience, as well as some 7 years of driving Lamborghinis in various different types of competition, including FIA GT, Lamborghini Trophy as well. So he knows those cars inside out. So under the pace car here at the moment, they have to stick to a speed of around 70 kilometers per hour. So that's why the guys are still moving them around aggressively, trying to, as you say, build up a little bit of heat, a little bit of extra warmth into the tyres, into the brakes as well. Make sure everything's ready for them when they head down into that first turn. Now, Danny, in that first race, we did see an incident in turn 1. What do you reckon? Can we get it through cleanly this time?
Yeah, well, Miguel Ramos on cold tyres spun into the first corner on cold tyres. Just got it a bit wrong, braked too late, lost the rear, and that's where he made contact with Thomas Enger's Aston Martin. So, yeah, with the cooler conditions now, they have to work the tyres even harder. And, I mean, this is the big race now. This is where the points are at. You need to be in the top 8. So I think, yeah, there might be some incident.
Well, let's wait and see, because the cars are gradually making their way around the lap. It is a rolling start, remember, as it was earlier. There's track temperatures, confirmation now that the track temperatures come down a little bit more, actually. It's down to 36, so now that it's got that bit darker, air temperature's about the same as earlier when you mentioned it. That's at 27, and 50% humidity. It's a very pleasant evening here in Abu Dhabi. They're passing beneath that massive hotel, wonderful structure, this 5-star hotel, those diamond-shaped panes of glass, creating what they call a grid shell, and all lit up by these fully colour programmable LEDs as well. Looks absolutely magnificent. Now we're getting ready for the safety car, the course car, to come into the pits. Building up now towards the start of the first event that will score championship points big time here. The GT1 World Championship about to get underway for real. They've done their qualifying race. It's now time to go racing to get that first big winner. Certainly are. Also in there as well is the Mad Croc Corvette with Xavier Marson back at the wheel. They've changed their engine between race 1 and 2. There he is, and he's already picked up some places. But oh dear, Stefan Mucker is in trouble, and that's such a great show. It's Christopher Nygaard actually in the car at the moment, but it's the car that he and Stefan Mucker did so well with in the first race, but unfortunately victims of contact on this opening lap. So Thomas Much is leading the race in the Ford GT. Behind him, it's still the Maserati of Andrea Bertolini. The time taking away at the top. There's a long, long way to go in this race yet, and yet everybody attacking. Zonta is in 3rd. And would you believe it, Andy Zuber's up to 4th place already. He started 11th in that yellow Corvette. He's up to 4th place. What a superb first lap. And both Corvettes are on the attack. Remember, the Hazeman's car also charging up through the field as well. And Mike Hazeman's was 11th as he crossed the line. He's trying to get past Darren Turner in that white and red Aston Martin. And Darren Turner is not going to make it too easy for him. I'm absolutely sure about that. Behind him, we've got Mika Salo not far behind as we go on board the second place car, which is now tucked in behind the Ford GT of Thomas Much, up into 4th gear. The gear changes as they head up this long straight, and can he gain anything as they head to maximum speed, up to nearly 270 kilometers per hour here, then onto the brakes. It's Thomas Much leading. There he is in the blue and white car, then the Vitaphone car, tight in second place behind him. These two guys ahead by a little margin from Ricardo Zonta in the number 25 Lamborghini. That's going well, but remember, they did have some braking issues with the Lamborghinis in the first race. Hopefully the cooler temperatures now will help. And right behind him is Andy Zuber. Watch for that yellow Corvette in the background. He's on a charge, Danny.
He is, and that car's looked very, very strong under braking, so I'd expect him at the end of one of the long straights to dive down the inside and take the Lamborghini. But going back to Darren Turner's first lap, that was very strong, up to 10th from 16th.
So that's great news after their problems earlier on today. On board with Andy Zuber then, the race 1 winner. He's already got himself to 4th place despite having to start 11th. The Corvette's all given 10 race grid penalties for technical infringements, but he seems to have put that behind him. 4th place, we're only less than 5 minutes, 4 minutes into the race, aren't we? So it's a stunning start, and he is using his sprint racing experience to good effect on the early laps. Now, the question is, can he now get into the rhythm of the race without taking too much out of the tyres? Because he's got to run for a minimum of 25 minutes before he can bring that car in, switch tyres, switch driver, and get his teammate back out there to see what he can do as well. Another lap completed. It's Thomas Much leading. 2nd place for Bernoldi. Then in 3rd place, sorry, not Bernoldi, it's Bertolini. Bertolini in the Maserati in 2nd place. In 3rd place, still Zonta. Problems for the number 4 Nissan. Well, we saw contact between some of the Nissans. I don't know whether that one was involved in that. That's the Seiji Ara car. But sadly, it looks as though that one is being pushed away for the night, doesn't it? Maybe they'll be able to get it out later, but not terribly promising. So, on board, Andrea Bertolini, chasing down that Ford GT that lies ahead. And both these guys are working hard now as they head down the straight. This onboard view really does tell you which gear he's in very clearly. It's a massive gear indicator on the dashboard. You ain't going to miss that one, are you, Danny?
Well, from a driver's perspective, you're never going to be in the wrong gear going around the corner, are you? But definitely car number 13 Zuber is having to go down the inside. He's having a look tucked in behind, but he's just on the fastest lap of the race on a 2 minute 9.5.
And also remember that we are aware that some of the Lamborghinis were struggling a bit for brakes at the latter stages of the first race. And Zonta there looked to me as though he was having to brake pretty is the number 37 machine. Oh, and that's desperately disappointing. Having a reasonable run there, Thomas Jaeger, but that looks really end of the race weekend for me, to me, doesn't it? It's firing something out of the car.
It looks like a bit of body damage to that front right there. Maybe the bodyworks could be rubbing up against the tyre.
Yeah, so I thought it was engine or something because so much smoke, but I think you're right. It's a tyre smoke, isn't it? From that front fiberglass on the wing. And so that's a great shame for Thomas Jaeger. Whether he can look it back and maybe they can pull it off the wheel.
Even bigger shame because he's got to wait another 3 minutes before he can actually make his mandatory driver change. So 2 stops they're going to have to make.
Yeah, that's a pity. I suppose if he goes slow enough coming back, he might just time it, but that would be a tricky one to get right. So here we are with the race leader. That's still Thomas Much in the Ford GT, chased by the Maserati with Andrea Bertolini at the wheel, the Italian who's a test driver for Ferrari. He's been a test driver for Ferrari since he was 19 years old, that guy there in car number 1. Had a pretty amazing career, but he's also been incredibly successful in GT racing in this Maserati in various different forms. They've, over the years, it's been limited in certain ways, but it's still a wonderful racing car. And Bertolini and Michael Bartels proving it once again here this weekend. It's right in the mix with some of these other newer machines that are joining in. The Corvette, of course, not necessarily a newer machine, but a very finely honed, finely developed car that has had huge success at Le Mans, as some of the biggest sports car races all over the world. And that's what we're seeing right now with these guys going pretty much bumper to bumper, if they have such things on these GT1 cars.
I'm wondering if Bertolini and Zuber's team are thinking whether to bring them in early, because maybe in clear air they might just be able to go quicker and jump them at the stops.
But surely Thomas Much is going to stop as early as possible himself and get Grosjean in there, because we know how quick Grosjean has been in this car, so we might actually see them maybe all diving in together, or it's a difficult one. They've got to work off each other a little bit. Well, here we are. Andrea Bertolini close as ever here. Is he actually going to make? No, he isn't. I wondered if he was actually going to have a bit of a run down the inside there. He is being a little cautious. They do know how to win championships, these guys. Now they know that to win championships, you do not fire it up the inside on some hopeful mission, and he hasn't done that yet. So into the pits comes the Thomas Jaeger Lamborghini. Door goes up. Looks as though it could all be over actually, because he's out of the car. He's still connected. You don't unplug yourself there, Thomas, otherwise you're not going too far. No, he's done that. There's a look of resignation in his face. Looks to me as though he thinks it's done and dusted. He's not going any further. Last lap, look at that's interesting. Thomas Much has just opened up a car length or two. Don't know quite where that came from, but all lapping pretty consistently at the moment. Andy Zuber set that fastest lap back on lap number 4 when the tyres were still pretty fresh. And don't forget, we're not sure whether when they come into the pits they'll be switching onto brand new tyres or onto a used set of tyres. That could be the difference as well between whether you end up first or third, or perhaps dropping even further back. Down in the pits, the other drivers are beginning to get ready. Romain Grosjean, he knows that the time is clicking away, the top of the screen there. Once it gets to 35 minutes to go, the pit lane is open and they can make their stop from that moment onwards. As long as, of course, the safety car doesn't come out, because that would mess things around a little bit for them. So, Thomas Much still controlling the race. The Ford looking very, very good. But can he fend off Andrea Bertolini to the stops? A great exit there from Bertolini. He really has got it sized up. Slots back into the slipstream. And Much goes far over to the left as he can. He wants to defend that position. But this is Bertolini's biggest opportunity.
Yeah, well, on that lap, Romain Grosjean broke the lap record there. He's just done a 2 minute 7.7 on that lap, and that is just the time he needed to get in front.
Brilliant. What a brilliant lap. New fastest sector tyres by Romain Grosjean. And did he need it? Look, it only just got him out in front, didn't it?
That's all he needed, though, wasn't it? And he's up to speed on those hot tyres now, whereas the other guy just needs to get a feel for the car on the cold tyres and bringing them up to speed, but it just means he's going to lose a bit of time, Henrici.
So Marc Henrici now, he's got the work to do to try and stay with Romain Grosjean, but we've seen how fast Grosjean is. That could be a tall order, and he's still getting up to speed with the car, getting a feel for it. His first lap out, remember this, for Henrici, whereas Grosjean now on his second flying lap. He's got the feel, he knows where to find the grip. He knows where he can afford to push a little harder. And this is great stuff from GT1 debutant Romain Grosjean. Certainly going to make the headlines if he carries on like this, that's for sure. But there is Marc Henrici. He's not going to give up, and he's a quick driver. We saw it earlier on today. He will not give up the fight at all here, and might not be an ex-Formula 1 driver, but that doesn't stop him being a very, very quick indeed. He's been a winner at Spa in the Ford GT in the past, in fact. Second in the ADAC GT series last year in a Corvette, 3 victories. So he is a fast GT driver, just 27 years old, and he will do his utmost here to try and stay with the flying forward of Romain Grosjean. What else is going on? Well, we're seeing most of the pit stops being made now. The last few guys coming into the pits that hadn't changed. Mika Salo gets out of the number 12 Corvette. Pertti Kuzmanen jumps aboard, but Pertti is not as quick as Mika, so they will probably lose some places in the latter part. Looks like they've got a new set of tyres to put on that car. Alfred Hager is getting on board the number 33 Maserati, taking over from Alexander Margaritis. Did a good job in that first stint. Got past Darren Turner at one point and had that Maserati going very well indeed. But there is effectively our race leader. Once all the pit stops have been made, look at that. He's trying hard still.
Yeah, he's right on the very limit, isn't he? And trying very, very hard. But going very, very quickly at the same time as he comes into the slow speed second chicane. First gear hairpin right now. This leads on to the long 1.2 kilometre straight. It looks very, very smooth and tidy through the slow speed stuff. A little bit ragged through the high speed, but he's quick and he's pulling away.
He is pulling away. Not by huge margins, but by enough to just give him a little bit of a comfort zone over the bright yellow Corvette, which is still going hard at the moment. Into the pits has just come Makavici and the Aston Martin. So that is one of the last, I think, to make their pit stop. 1 or 2 maybe still to do so, but we'll get a run through at the end of the next lap. 25 minutes and a half to go, so the pit window virtually closed now. That means everybody has to have made their pit stop, their driver change and their wheel change. Actually, just watching the number 23 single power Nissan who just come in. Michael Krum will be handing over to Peter Dumbreck, so 1 or 2 later pit stops, but it all going to be settled in terms of positions. We're still going to have some battles going on there, there's no doubt about that. Several cars still running in close company. Thomas Enger is now in the young driver Aston Martin, the white and red Aston Martin. Right behind him is the number 37 Lamborghini. Now that's actually further down the order. Remember, that car came into the pits with the damage to the front wing. Well, they've lost a lap or 2, but they are back out again. Yeah, they've lost 2 laps. They've now done 13 laps as Here goes Thomas Enger. He's on the attack. About to borrow a rear panel. You can see that silver panel just above the right rear wheel. That is actually belongs to the Hexis Aston Martin team. They've had to borrow a panel because of the damage that was done earlier. Nice to see a bit of cooperation between the two Aston Martin teams. And Thomas Enger looking very, very racy here as he tries to get past Alfred Hager, the vastly experienced Alfred Hager, a Super Cup champion many, many years ago. Back in 1993 he was Super Cup champion, semi-retired until recently, but decided to pick the helmet up once more. He's doing a pretty good job here, Danny.
He is, yes. Very difficult in this sector time, pushing as hard as he can, but looking after those Michelin tyres.
8th place, this is the battle for at the moment. So Hager is in 8th. Thomas Enger, the Czech driver, there he is, briefly a Grand Prix driver, but he's been so fast in all forms of both single-seaters. Oh, and that was a bit wide by Alfred Hager. He had to go right across the runoff, but it still actually didn't slow him down, didn't really allow Enger any opportunity to get any closer. Meanwhile, behind them, that's Christopher Haas in the number 24 Lamborghini, trying to get past the number 37 car, which is actually 2 laps down. So he's got past him fairly securely there. That wasn't too much of a problem in the end.
Lamborghini swapping position at the hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember that white and black Lamborghini is a couple of laps down, so not a change of sort of overall position. Christopher Haas car running in 10th place. Here comes Thomas Enger. Or is he? No, he's going to slot back in behind the Maserati once more and see if there's going to be a better opportunity to try and take 8th place away from the veteran in front of him, the 52-year-old Alfred Hager. Still having to work pretty defensively at the moment to keep Thomas Enger behind him. And I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Thomas Enger's looking much, much quicker than Alfred Hager in his Maserati, but Hager's looking slightly ragged, to say the least, and definitely holding these guys up behind.
He is, but he's not going to give up his place, is he? He's not going to just hand it on a plate, and there's no reason why he should.
That's a very, very wide Maserati.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide car in the first place, but being driven by Alfred here, it's even wider. So let's see how long he can fend off Thomas Enger, who can be a pretty aggressive racer when he wants to be, but also so experienced. He won't want to throw caution to the wind. He knows what an early stage in the championship it is. It's been a little bit of a tough weekend for the young driver Aston Martin team, and they will want to go to Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time and build on at least some points from this race. So he really won't want to throw it down the inside in a risky manoeuvre, I think, to pass Hager. What he's looking for is a little error, which there might have been there again, although not quite enough of an error to take advantage of. It is this section where Hager seems to struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, this just on the exit of this one is where he straight-lined it on the last lap. He doesn't want to do that too many times, else he'll have the stewards on his back, but he kept it nice and tidy this time round. It looks very untidy into the chicane. He's gone in too deep. This is Enger's opportunity into the hairpin.
Yeah, it's closed up, but can he get the run on him onto the straight? That's the question. Look how late Enger cuts back, looking for the good exit. Meanwhile, this is another battle. This is for 6th place, and the other of the Vitaphone Maseratis, driven by Enrique Bernoldi, and right in behind him is the other Hager Maserati with Bert Longin at the wheel. So you've got the two Maseratis going virtually together here. Obviously no difference in performance, except perhaps how they might have just trimmed the individual cars. Oh no! Don't hit each other, guys! Oh, I thought we were into a Nissan repeat there. Thankfully, they just about got through.
Yeah, very, very close. Looked like he braked very early into that chicane, and again he's going a bit wide out of that left-hander, so definitely holding the 34 car up. But just going back to Romain Grosjean, he's just set the fastest lap of the race so far on a 7.3. He took 2 seconds out, and he's got a gap now, a lead of 7.7 seconds from Henrici.
Wow, that's a big lead for the Ford up front. So Romain Grosjean really is stepping away from the opposition here at Abu Dhabi for the moment. As we watch some of the other battles that are going on, the Enrique Bernoldi is Miguel Ramos is in the car at the moment, of course, being as defensive as possible from Bert Longin in the other Maserati right behind him. So Ramos, who had that accident in the first race, that must have maybe just shaken his confidence a little bit. The car rebuilt and ran well in the hands of Enrique Bernoldi in the first stint, and now he's busy trying to defend the position from Bert Longin. 8th place at the moment then, his teammate and team boss Alfred Hager still fending off Thomas Enger in 9th. We've got Christopher Haas in 10th. Alex Muller in the number 11 Madcrock Corvette is currently in 11th place. And what of the Nissans? Well, I think top Nissan in the race at the moment is the Warren Hughes Jamie Campbell-Walter car, which is currently running in 12th place. Jamie at the wheel. The other Nissans seem to have dropped down the order a bit. Wendlinger, now the Wendlinger's car now being driven by Henri Moser. That's down in 16th place, and the Michael Krum Peter Dunn-Brett car down in 17th. And of course we saw the Seiji Ara car out of the race pretty early on. So there we are, the Nissan's not having a particularly good championship race, I'm afraid. Warren Hughes and Jamie Campbell-Walter the best placed, and they're in 12th position. Back with this other battle, Alfred Hager still in 8th place. Thomas Enger just behind him in the Aston Martin. A little bit tiny. Chini get the car slowed down. Yes, he can. The Corvette has been strong on brakes all weekend, and he made it all look pretty easy.
Yeah, he did. Well executed move. Andy was on all the dust and the dirt, so he did a really good move there, and I'm sure now he's got the pace to pull away.
Yeah, that's right. So let's see what happens. Let's put him into 3rd place. That means we've got Corvettes. The Phoenix Corvettes running 2nd and 3rd. That is astonishing, isn't it? What a remarkable performance, but they're not leading the race because that's still being held by the remarkable Romain Grosjean. A 15-second advantage with under 10 minutes to go. That is some colossal margin, and he's still lapping quickly, Danny. Just looking at Romain Grosjean, look, he's just done a 2-minute 8.047.
Yeah, well, going down the times, looking at everyone else's, he is literally 2 seconds a lap quicker than anybody at the moment with 9.5 minutes left. I'm sure it's about time he sort of looks after his tyres to the finish, but no, he keeps on pushing.
Yeah, I think he's just enjoying himself. Talk us through this overtake.
Yeah, well, he left the door open. He's given him plenty of room to go down the inside. It looks as if he's going to do him a dummy and come back, but no, he can even move over to the outside, turn in on his normal line and get the move done. Pretty straightforward, good move.
So flat out in 6th gear, and then once onto the brakes, there was no way of Michael Bartels getting the place back. Alfred Hager in 9th place, chased by Alex Muller in 10th position. Those two are still pretty close together, aren't they? Thomas Enger, where's he? He's actually dropped behind these two. So he's actually lost a bit of ground there. He's lost a place to that Corvette from where we were watching earlier. And it's now the Corvette that is putting the pressure on. So Alex Muller trying to get past Alfred Hager. Good to see the two teams representing Ford. Oh, and Jonathan Hershey, who had that drive-through penalty a little bit earlier on. You can see a rear puncture on that car. So obviously, the reason for him pulling off the circuit. Whether he ran over some debris or something, I suppose that's possible then.
Yeah, not quite sure. A number of reasons possibly. Maybe he got touch from the rear or ran over something, went wide over a curb or something. Many reasons, I'm not sure, but a disappointment for them.
Alfred Hager still doing his defensive duties here. Car number 33, the Maserati, is right behind him. Number 11 Corvette is applying as much pressure as possible. Alex Muller, who was in a Maserati in the FIA GT Championship last year, so he knows how the car handles. But he's got to work out if he can find a way of squeezing this Corvette that he's now in down to the inside somewhere. There's the stricken number 10 Aston Martin. So they pass that on circuit, and I don't know if the yellows are still out. They may well still be out there, so no overtaking in that zone. But once they're out of that area, of course, then they can go on the attack once again. This meeting well represented by the British Marshals looking after things here this weekend. The BARC in control of the events and flying over some 150 marshals to help. Be another story with the current situation in the skies over Europe. No one's people beginning to just about to think about that now. They've been focused on racing up till now, but as we watch this race gradually work its way down, look at the clock ticking away, just over 6.5 minutes to go now. Maxime Martin in his Ford GT, the car he shares with Bas Leinders, sitting in 12th place currently. They are ahead of the first of the Nissans, still the car of Warren Hughes and Jamie Campbell-Walter, and you can just see it in the background, the number 22 Nissan GTR, the Sumo Power car, in the background there. That is the first of the Nissans on the road. I think they were disappointed from this weekend. The Nissans, the four Nissans, not really getting the sort of results that they were hoping for. There's Bas Leinders in the middle, driver of that Ford GT, car number 40, and hoping maybe that they can get a little bit more out of this race in the closing stages, because they are tucked in behind Thomas Enger. And Enger does seem to have been struggling a little bit in recent laps.
Yeah, well, they're desperately trying to get into the top 8, aren't they? Because that's where the points are at. And at the moment, they're just on the fringes in 10th and 11th and need to make up some time. But yeah, Enger is struggling at this stage. Earlier on when he first got in it, he was really pushing hard, and I think maybe possibly the Michelins have gone past their best now.
So Grosjean leads by nearly 20 seconds in the Ford, a massive advantage over Henrici in the Corvette in second place. Then Andrea Piccini, another Corvette in third. The Maserati of Michael Bartels in fourth. And then the Zonta Daniel car running in fifth place. That's actually not a bad result for the number 25 car. They'll be reasonably happy with that, I think. They're chased by the Enrique Bernoldi Miguel Ramos Maserati, that's in sixth place. And then the Matteo Bobbi Longin car, that's in seventh. Peter Koch, Christopher Haas Lamborghini is in eighth place. The Alex Margaritis Alfred Hager Maserati you're looking at right now, that's the car that's still protecting ninth position from that car of Alex Muller tucked in behind. So we are just in the points at this point, but Enger is the first car that is not going to be in the points if he stays where he is. And behind Enger, remember, is that Ford GT of Maxime Martin, and looking to try and improve in the closing moments now. 4.5 minutes, that's all that's left here. Hager, can he hold on? Well, he's done pretty well so far in being as defensive as possible. I wonder if he's going to sustain this for the remainder. Big slide there from Alex Muller, getting those rear tyres working hard. He still can't quite get out of the corners well enough to be able to slingshot past that Maserati. Up past the hotel, and really just giving it everything to finish off this race, tight into the final turn. The Triple H team are really hoping against hope that he's going to hang on in there, in that number 33 car. Number 34 machine is also in the points, so it could be a good day for them in the end. All four brake discs glowing quite beautifully on the Corvette, so it's a pretty good brake balance on that car.
Yeah, it's a great sight, isn't it? Seeing, you only normally see that at Le Mans, don't you, at the end of the long straights. But and also the sound of these cars are fantastic. When we get onboard shots, you can hear the engine. It's no, they sound really nice.
They do sound wonderful. V12 Maserati versus V8 Corvette here. And the V12 just about having the edge at this stage in the race. Again, they both run over the curb on the exit. That's how hard they're trying. This is GT sprint racing, there's no doubt about it. You cannot afford a tiny slip-up. That's what Alex Muller is pushing for. He might still get it with 3 minutes to go. Just a couple of laps remaining, though. That's all there is. And it does look as though things are pretty for Ford and for the Martech team, because Romain Grosjean is still controlling this race very comfortably, and even though he's backed off his pace, he's still going quicker than most of the cars around him. Having said that, Andrea Piccini in his Corvette, the number 13 car, number 14 car, is going very quickly at this stage. Look at the gaps and how it's been closed over the last few laps. So the gap between the two Corvettes at the moment coming down at well over a second on some occasions, just under a second on lap 24. So Andrea Piccini's flying now, Danny.
He is. They've had a really tough weekend, haven't they? So they deserve a great result in this point scoring second race. And yeah, it's been a great drive by both of them so far. And that car's really well hooked up, even with a bit of damage. And you'll think that would slow it down, not make it quicker.
You would. On the straight, would it not give them a little bit less of a slippery shape? I would have thought so, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down too much, does it? I guess the airflow is kicked up over that front wheel pretty effectively by the front shape, front air dam, and it's not really affecting things. So he's closing in on his teammate, but Mark Henrici, I'm sure, isn't pushing flat out himself now. There's no point. I can't see that these guys are really going to go at it hard in the closing laps of the race. They need to protect their positions after what has been a very difficult weekend. They are going to emerge with an amazing point score. They will actually be the top team, of course, remember that, because the two cars score towards the team's title, the champion team's title, and they'll add 18 and 15 points for second and third place. So after a disastrous start, the Phoenix Racing car sport team will actually come away from this Abu Dhabi event with the lead in the champion team's title race. That is something you would never have thought yesterday when they were going through all their troubles, would you?
No, and of course they're going to the new Silverstone layout next, as long as we can get there, of course. But that's going to be a new challenge for everybody.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what how it pans out, that circuit. I'm sure these guys will be looking forward to driving on track. We're on the final lap because the clock is ticking away. As soon as the clock reaches 0, then the checker flag will be out the next time the leader crosses the line, and that will be at the end of this lap. And what can we say about this guy, Romain Grosjean, who has impressed us throughout the entire weekend? The guy who raced here in Formula 1, driving for the Renault F1 team towards the end of last year. Yes, he had a little bit of circuit knowledge to help him. But remember, he's never driven this car before. He's never done any GT racing of any particular note before. He's been a single-seater guy throughout his career. So the track knowledge might have helped him, but you still have to say he's done a mighty job.
Yeah, he's adapted to it like a duck to water, hasn't he? You have to say, even from free practice 1, he was right on the nail straight away. He's been quick. He looks composed. When we've interviewed him earlier on in the week, he's been, what a great sign that is.
Yeah, Natasha Gachnang, who had the accident in qualifying yesterday, teammate to Romain Grosjean. They were all so upset by the accident that happened at the end of the straight, and she has a broken leg. It was a compound fracture of her right leg. She's now in plaster recovering, and all of our wishes to her to make a swift recovery. But, well, the team has certainly bounced back here today, haven't they, with Martek dominating this second race, the championship race, the big race of the weekend. And it's going to have Ford's name all over it, because they're the only team to have got 2 cars right up there in the points. Coming through in 4th place, well, a team that knows a lot about winning, and they'll still be major championship contenders. Vitaphone Maserati coming through 4th place. In 5th place, Rafael Daniel in the number 25 car. That's a great result in the Reiter Lamborghini, and Ricardo Zonta will be pleased with that. And meanwhile, some other battles still going on. Ramos finishes in 6th place in the Bernaldi Maserati. Oh, and look at Muller. Muller, he sort of got almost caught out there by Alfred Hager. He might even lose a place to Thomas Enger.
Yeah, he's on dirty tyres now. You saw all the sand that's got onto the tyres. He's going to slide around for these final few corners, and he's under pressure now. Big mistake on the last lap.
Yeah, I think he's just about recovered it. So the Corvette almost had a big mishap, but he stayed in front of Thomas Enger. Enger must have thought, oh, there's a chance to get in the points, but he won't. The final point is taken by Alex Muller in the number 11 Corvette. Enger in the Aston Martin just misses out. He finishes in 11th place. The first of the Nissans behind them, and that was the car of Jamie Campbell-Walter and Warren Hughes. And then coming home next, it should be Maxime Martin. Just talk us through this bit again.
Yeah, it looks like he braked a little bit too late. Look at the closing speed. Now he's sideways. He's up over the curb, off the circuit. Slight overcorrection. His heart's beating at the moment. And, yeah, well, he was lucky to get away with that one.
But, Danny, Romain Grosjean, he has just shown everybody the way to go here tonight. And that car, it looks immaculate. It has run immaculately all weekend. Fastest in just about every session. They missed out in qualifying because, of course, he didn't get to drive the car in qualifying. There is the man who did drive it in qualifying, Thomas Much. And what a satisfying feeling this must be, to walk up to the other end of the pit lane to greet his teammate and winner of this first championship race of 2010. What a way to get the campaign underway.
Yeah, well, I've certainly enjoyed this weekend, the first round of the FIA GT1 World Championship, and I know Romain Grosjean has. Smiling yesterday, he had a quick spin in free practice. But let's go to the pit lane.
Mike, congratulations. What a result for the team.
Yeah, for us it's like a win, because we had no practice, 4 engines broke down, and then we finally found what it was. So then I had to start last because I had 15 penalties. So we had to start that last. I was hitting from all sides at the start, but we came through. So for us, this is victory.
You've certainly got a great lineup of drivers there.
Yeah. Andrea did a fantastic job, so I'm really happy.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, so they should be. What a turnaround. Now that has got to be one of the comeback stories of motor racing, really, because they were on their knees, almost literally changing engines over the course of the practice days here. And we really thought at one point that they just weren't even going to be racing. Remember, he didn't get out for the start of the first race on time. They started that race late. He was several laps down. To come through and emerge with a podium in the championship race is just quite some achievement.
Yeah, limited on track time. Then they were behind on car setup, so they've been chasing the tails all weekend. But no, well, a great teamwork from all the guys, the mechanics that worked so hard all weekend changing engines in this heat.
Well, it's victory for American manufacturers, no doubt about that, isn't it? Ford on top with Corvette right behind them. And that's going to be something to splash across the papers. America have come good in GT1 World Championship in the first event, and the pictures being taken there with Thomas Much. But, well, I wonder if the story will be repeated at Silverstone. There's a lot of racing to go in this series. 10 rounds, 2 races at each round, but remember, it's the second race that always scores the majority points. And, well, I know Haley's down there. She's going to try and grab Romain. Let's see if we can get a word with him.
Congratulations, Romain, once again. Have you enjoyed your racing this weekend?
During the race will include things like drive-throughs. After the race, they can always add in time penalties, add a 30-second penalty perhaps, and that could often change the result quite considerably. So that's something we'll be keeping an eye upon. But, well, it's been a very successful, exciting first event here in Abu Dhabi. And it's the Ford GT that has emerged on top in our battle of the brands between these big sports car manufacturers. It's Ford that has come out on top, and that really is something pretty special from their point of view, as there were some people who worked very hard in those cockpits, weren't there?
Yeah, I know that feeling, and he just wants to get out of that 3-layer Nomex racesuit underwear as quick as he possibly can. It looks as if he's had a shower, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is so hot in those cars. Absolutely minimal airflow through them. The fans, not the little electric fans they've got inside the cockpits, as you said, Danny, not really a huge help. And now a chance to just cool off a touch.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to describe it is really sitting in your local sauna in a sleeping bag, and it's that hot, and do it for half an hour stint, and that's exactly what these guys are going through.
Well, it's time for them to get out the sleeping bag, get out the sauna, and go and get a well-earned beer, I should think, and relax a little bit after the rigours of driving here in the high temperatures in the dark as well, but of course under these amazing floodlights, which makes it almost as light as if it was daytime. And everybody has really enjoyed the show that's been put on by these guys. They're heading up towards the podium area, so we'll get to see that in just a few moments. And remember, 25 points have gone to the winners, Grosjean and Thomas Much, and Ricardo Zonta getting a good result with Rafael Daniel. They have finished in 5th place. That was really an excellent result for them, because qualifying hadn't gone according to plan. They'd ended up a lot further back than we'd expected, and yet they've come through with some very useful points in this one. Shame to see the number 10 Aston Martin out, but not the only one. We lost the number 8 car very early on, didn't we? That was pretty much the first lap, I think, and that was the Stefan Mucker car that had gone so well in the first race. Unfortunately, you don't really get many points for race 1 under this new system. You've got to be in at the finish in the second race, in the championship race, to push forward your championship hopes. And for them, well, they just have to turn their attention towards Silverstone now and hope that they can do something there. Talking of Silverstone, Danny, have you had a chance to look at the plans and the arrangement, what's going on at Silverstone, and what are your thoughts on how that track's going to work out?
Yeah, well, the FIA GT1 Championship are going to be the first race on the new layout, so I haven't actually been around the circuit yet. I've had a look at all the details and the circuit maps, and it looks a great challenging circuit. But no, we're going to have to wait a couple of weeks, aren't we, and ask all the drivers when we're there.
Yeah, see what they think of it. Yeah, see what they make of it. I think Stefan Rattel must be pretty happy with the way his first weekend has gone. His dream has been realised of a GT1 World Championship with these different manufacturers of cars, but private teams, remember, running the cars. They can have a certain amount of support from manufacturers, but at the end of the day, they are private teams, and that's what he wants to see. He wants to have that element. It's an important part of the whole equation. Some pretty tremendous trophies lined up there for our race winners. The crews will be heading out onto the podium any moment. A pair of trophies, of course, for each of the drivers in those winning crews, and there's a 7th trophy which will go to the top team, and of course in this case there's no doubt about that, it's the Phoenix team, Phoenix Racing Car Sport, with those Corvettes that finished in 2nd and 3rd places. And despite some investigations going on, I'm sure that won't affect things for now, with the presentation ceremonies about to take place. Cars down in Parc Fermé, everybody just waiting for the drivers to appear out on the podium and start those celebrations, which I mean, it's now, what is it, coming up for 9 o'clock at night local time here, so celebrations will be getting underway pretty quickly, I should think, straight after this, and everyone will be partying through the night and then wondering if they're going to be able to get a flight anywhere else in the world. So good to see a good turnout of people as well, and a few people have stuck around to enjoy these closing moments, the celebrations. Don't forget that this series, after it goes to Silverstone, will be travelling around some of the great circuits of Europe, going to Brno in the Czech Republic, to Paul Ricard. You raced at Paul Ricard last weekend, Danny, won your class, of course, in the LMS race there. So how do you see these GT1 cars responding around Paul Ricard? What's important there, particularly? Is it all about straight line speed?
I'd say 70% of it is about straight line speed, so I think all the brands are going to be tuning the rear wing, tuning the aerodynamics for the long straight, but also you've got some long radius corners that come back on themselves, and the last sector, very last corner in fact, is a very slow speed first gear corner, so it's going to be a mixture.
Here we go then, the crews heading out onto the podium. Mike Hazemans and Andrea Piccini. What a comeback drive that was, from last to third. And that is a stunning effort in the Phoenix Racing Corvette. And Andrea Piccini taking a deep draw of breath there as he just recovers and cools down a touch. In second place, their teammates, Andy Zuber and Mark Henrici. They drove their hearts out, but the winners, after an absolutely tremendous, the youngster Grosjean alongside. They've brought him into the team, they've given him this opportunity, and look what he's done to reward them. Exactly what they needed. Didn't put a wheel wrong in the races. Had that spin, a couple of little offs in practice yesterday when he was just playing, just seeing what the limits of the car were. And in that race, at some stages, he was nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else. So Thomas Mutsch will be delighted to have started the season so well. Anthem for the Swiss team Martech competition, and for Swiss driver indeed Romain Grosjean. He is going to be representing that team very well indeed, and has done on this occasion. We've had a fascinating first encounter in the FIA GT1 World Championship. The trophies being handed out for third place initially after the remarkable recovery drive for Mike Hazemans and Andrea Piccini. But it sets things up for the rest of the season, and we will be looking forward to the races at Silverstone, Brno, Paul Ricard, Spa, Nürburgring, the Algarve, then Durban, Brazil and Argentina. What a battle is in prospect in the battle of the brands throughout 2010. Ford have taken first honours up against Corvette, but you can bet that Maserati, Lamborghini and Nissan will all be back, as will Aston Martin. For now, from Abu Dhabi, goodbye.
So the winning team trophy then presented by Salah Mohammed Al-Tamimi. Congratulations and well done to the winning team. Martin Bartek then, from the winning team, is presented with his trophy, and lots of cheers from the grandstand and fans and team members in the pit lane as well. Special prize then comes for us this evening as well. We'd like to present to the winning team as a present the Blanc watch from the official sponsors of this year's timing for the FIA GT1 World Championship. Not the sort of watch you want to be wearing on your wrist, but we must say a big thank you as well, and thank you to Nyla Hale, who is of course a member of the board for Blanc. So now we make way for the official photographs of the winning crews and the winning team before we move on to the celebrations here this evening at Yas Marina Circuit.